Welcome to Hey Clarity. I'm your host, Lindsay, and today we're doing a collective reading on the Libra full moon. Before I get into that, I have an exciting announcement. I am hosting an event called The Art of Channeling on April 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Eastern online on Zoom. I will put all the information in the description box below. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you my process, all the practices that I have acquired over the years to do what I do. And we're going to do an exercise together so you can experience channeling for yourself. How much fun is it going to be to channel on April 22nd, which is Earth Day? It's going to be a good time. And then I have a bonus gift. So check it out. I'd love to see you there. There's nothing more that I love than channeling with a group of people. So I love this so much. It's been of such high value in my life, and I want to teach as many people as possible. So it's Channeling 101. If you have experience channeling, come anyway. Let's join in and channel together and just have a good time. So again, that information is in the description box below, but April 22nd, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. Can't wait to see you guys there. Okay, so getting into our reading for the Libra full moon. Note, the Libra new moon of 2024 was on October 2nd. So again, how we play with the moons, new moons to full moons, and how the story unfolds through that lunation cycle. So check back in your notes, your calendar, what were you doing at that time? If you were setting intentions at that time, kind of check in with yourself, what has come to fruition and what hasn't, and maybe why, why haven't certain things that you've set intentions for not made their full culmination yet. So October 2nd, 2024. And the Libra full moon is April 12th. So the questions that we're going to ask: what's the opening message, opening visual? What is the energy of this full moon? How can we best navigate it? What is coming to fruition? What story since the new moon in Libra on October 2nd, 2024 may have unfolded for us? What is being illuminated? What is being released? And what's the most important message you need to know? Let's get into it. I'm excited. I feel good about this moon. I don't know. I just do. I opened the records prior to hitting record, and I just got into this very excited, chatty mood. So maybe that's the energy of it. Let's see. What is the opening message or opening visual for the Libra full moon? Wow. Yeah, I guess that's it. They just showed the word boost, boost, boost. We get a boost. They're just energies flowing, boost. It could be bursts of inspiration. It's this light, they're saying full, fuel, full, we're feeling really light, and it's this gentle push forward, but it's got power behind it. They're saying soft power. There's this soft power. And they're kind of saying soft power inspiration, Cool. So the opening, that visual or opening message is boost. What is the energy of this full moon? They're same. Anything else? What is the energy of this full moon? They're bright and powerful. They're light up, lit up. They're saying the words dark ages, and they're kind of it's kind of this odd happening, these odd happenings when we have fallen, when humanity has fallen on dark times. It brings out this burst, this celebration of life. They're saying less taken advantage of, less taken advantage of time, money, effort, more gratitude, more excitement, more appreciation. We feel like celebrating life. I keep saying dark ages, like dark ages, like light up humanity. And it is like a wake up call. And they're like, sometimes it's like they're showing yin yang. And they're like, yeah, like darkness and light and dark. And there's this balance. And then they're like, you know, when humanity goes way too far into darkness or is like peering into that scope, then the light comes back to be like, nope. And then it's almost like we don't even know what it feels like to have so much light that like it goes back dark, because we teeter. They're like, you guys like teeter. It's like balance and then like darkness, balance and then like darkness. But we never like really like, they're like, humanity doesn't let themselves like experience like the light ages. They're like, you don't even have that as like a historical reference, like the light ages, but you have the dark ages. So they're like, you teeter on the two, you know, unbalanced, imbalanced, and tend to like tip into dark ages and then like kind of come back into balance, but never go into like light ages. They're like, what happened? Like, what's happening? So right now we are, you know, because they're like mass populations, like there's recognition, acknowledgement of like kind of like the lesser of humanity, like the lessons of humanity, the failures of humanity, or even saying like the less spiritual, but they're like less in touch with themselves. So they're calling and likening spirituality to like people who are in touch with themselves as like human beings, but also as spiritual beings. So when people are disconnected from themselves, they lose sight of, they're saying there's less like humanitarian behavior and stuff. And so we are getting the energy of this full moon is that they're just like hope. There's like, we light up. So how can we best navigate this energy? How can we best navigate the energy of the Libra full moon? They're like, we might feel like unfamiliarized by it. So we might just be like dancing around it, but not like fully enjoying it. And the reason they're saying this is because they're like, when times are hard for some of the population, we feel guilty, we feel bad, we feel shameful or embarrassed if we are celebrating life and enjoying life. And they're like, that's the point. Like, you have to pull yourself out of these places. You have to pull humanity out of those places. You can't all get sucked into those horrible places. We have to be celebrating life. So they're like, if you are getting these like inklings to like enjoy yourself and have a good time and experience your life and do all this, like, they're like, go for it. Like, it doesn't serve us. They're like, yes, like activists, like take action, do work, make effort, help each other out, and take breaks and recharge, be inspired, and then you come back around more helpful. So in enjoying your life, you can come back and serve your community a whole lot better if you are not sad and depleted and scared. They're like fearful, and like you're not kind of like absorbing all that destruction. So they're like, don't forget to enjoy yourself in the dark ages. And they're like, haha, like it's almost like we're not gonna let it get there, but we're looking at it. Like we're looking at it. We see the trajectory and we see that it is not impossible. If enough people get on the bandwagon, if enough people get on board with doom and gloom and destruction and hardship and hating each other, we see that. We're very aware of it. We have this, like, seems like it's getting into illumination. There's a spotlight on those populations that are very harmful. So best navigating it is, they're like, don't just dance around it. If you have opportunities and invitations and you feel called to enjoy yourself, they're like, go for it. Do not feel guilty about having a good life right now, even like while others are suffering, because they're like, you will serve them better if you come back filled up. They're like filled and fueled and fulfilled and satisfied, so that you can like fully serve in your communities. What's coming to fruition? So the story, what's coming to fruition since the new moon in Libra on October 2nd, 2024. What's coming to fruition? It feels like this one's still unfolding. We're like in the middle of it. They're like, this story is ongoing. Well, what was the story around the new moon in Libra on October 2nd? They're just like ongoing. This is not, they're saying almost like, do not stop. Like something about this is not, it's ongoing, it's still unfolding. So it's not at fruition, but they're calling it like peak. There's an important peak or apex or pinnacle or landmark or something to recognize as more of like a halfway point. They're kind of like, you're halfway there, you're halfway there. So they're kind of saying like individualized, uncollective, like not so collectively. So now they're referencing how I was bringing up setting intentions on a new moon, seeing what comes to fruition or culmination as a story on the full moon. And what they're saying is like, go look back at what life was like, your dreams, your desires, they're like jobs, you know, how you were fulfilling your dreams or not, etc. And they're saying, yeah, go look back on October 2nd of last year. And they're saying, the thing that you've been working hard for or hard on or towards, you're moving in it. And like, you're like, they're like pinnacle, apex, peak. Like you're at a peak moment of this part of the journey, and it's still ongoing. So they're like half peak, half point, like you're halfway there, but this is still ongoing. So this story has not come to fruition, but they are saying individualized. So go look and see what was up. What's being illuminated during this full moon in Libra? What is being illuminated? They're like hardships, breathtaking, the shock and the horrors, the things that take our breath away in a bad way, in bad ways. They're like the horrification of humanity, like the horrors is being illuminated. And the reflection of like, is this us? Is this humanity? And they're like, no way, no way. There are more populations that are more, they're saying like undecided and ambivalent versus like in agreement with the horrification, the horrors that are going on. There are more people that don't know what they believe in. And so they're showing like populations swaying, because they don't know who they are. And they're like, do you know who you are? Because when you don't know who you are easily swayed. And so they're showing like, there's like a small group of people who are being destructive and conveying that and creating that. It feels like most people are like not in agreement, but don't know. So they're like, again, swaying. So they're showing people in a crowd all like swaying back and forth. because there is another way. And they're like, it's not this way and it's not that way. There's another way to move forward. And they're like, it's in your hands. It's in the hands of the people. And they're like, once everybody stops swaying and trying to like choose a side or choose your words or choose what's wrong and right, they're like, when you're heart led, like they're showing everybody just like locking into their heart space. And it's like, this makes sense. This is the way we're going to move forward. And then they're like, then do it. Then do it. There is something else. There is something better for us. And it's in the mass populations, they're saying accountability and responsibility to do it, to create it. They're like given power, giving power away, giving your power away. And like, does that make sense? Does it make sense to have such, they're saying like untrustworthy people be at the helm, be the hands that steer the ship of the whole world, of the whole country? They're like, no, hell no, hell no. They're like, you decide. Humanity decides what's next, what's coming, how we're going to move forward. And they're like, it's like incomprehensible, this other way, this destructive way. It doesn't make sense. It's nonsense, they're saying. So it's being illuminated is like the horrification, the horrors. It's funny that that's what they're saying. Is that even a word? I gotta look that up because I'm like, never heard that before. They make up words all the time. I love it. Horrification of humanity. What is being released on this full moon in Libra? What is being released on this full moon in Libra? Lose your words. We'll lose our words. Speechless, listening more. What's being released? Ooh, it's like we're not talking for talking's sake. We're choosing our words carefully. We're listening more, we're paying more attention, we're observing more each other and the people around us. And we're recognizing when people are loose with their words, maybe offensive, maybe destructive, maybe harmful with the words that they're using. But I just see like there's more listening, there's more observing, there's more silence. And it's almost like those who are talking like so much and like talking nonsense and like totally full of shit. They're like losing their power. Their words are like meaningless, become more meaningless. They're showing, for example, someone talking in front of a group of people, and like they're talking and talking and talking, and everyone is recognizing this person just like won't shut up and they're full of shit. So like almost like instead of saying anything, they like turn and walk away. And the person who was talking is like, how rude. And it's like, no, like shut up. Like you don't know what you're talking about, shut up. So there seems to be a lot less tolerance for bullshitters. They're like showing our like bullshit detectors, like got it. And then, but like our response, our reaction to it might be quite rude. And oh well, because there's just like less need for untruths on the planet. There's so many lies being told. There's so many lies like stirring in the air that we are just so sick of it, but also like we're really aware of it. We have like a hypersensitivity to it, so we can pick it up. Our bullshit meters are like on high. So our tolerance for it is like less and less and less. And they're like, less is more. Like less talking, choosing more meaningful words, being more intentional about your conversations, maybe just hanging out and not really talking, but just enjoying where you are, just enjoying the environment, enjoying the event, enjoying whatever interaction you're having with people. So we might lose our words, as in we might just be, saving it, like not wasting our breath as much. But it feels like a good thing. Okay, what's the most important message you need to know about the Libra full moon? What is the most important message we need to know about the Libra full moon? They're saying it's checkered. And they're showing a huge checkered board on the ground. And we're hopping from like one square to the next to the next. And it's like, it's kind of like black and white, right? Are you hopping from white square to white square to black square to black square? There's something about checkered box, they're saying. Okay, let's see if we can tease through this because it's very visual. Black and white, checkered floor, ground, okay? And then black and white of yin and yang. And thinking of those shapes, black and white, rigid squares, and then yin yang has these curves, and it blends and it swirls and it mixes. And they're like, things are less black and white. What are you saying? The blending of what we consider like right and wrong, light and dark, good and bad. To be less rigid. And it's connected to listening. They're like, there's some things that are very, very clearly just no good, evil, bad, whatever. Like, because of how it feels, because of the ripple effect it has, because of the non-contribution it has to the world and society and humanity. There are some things that are very clearly that. But like everything else can get a little mixed. And so part of this Libra full moon is the blending of maybe what you thought was good no longer being that. And maybe what you considered not good. They're like teasing through that a little bit, teasing through it, and finding something special in there. And the way that we get there is through listening, is through observing, is through being more quiet and listening to the light. Okay, gosh. Way to make a point. They're like silencing. Shh. Okay. That's the most important message we need to know. Silencing, observing, but like we're gaining a lot from being in that position. They're like, you're most powerful and more powerful when you're in that position of observing. That's where you grow. That's where you learn. That's where you change your mind. That's where you take the time to make better decisions, because we're, taking in the experience more. Cool. Okay. So that was the Akashic Records collective messages for the Libra full moon. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're feeling some of this peppiness that I'm getting from it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, join me for the Art of Channeling on April 22nd, Earth Day. Info in the description box below. I can't wait to see you there. Let's channel together. It's my favorite thing to do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.